Come on then. Sorry, I'm practicing. Hello guys, it's 899 here and welcome to today's video, and today we're going to go through our tips and predictions for round 6 of the 2026 NRL season. I actually think we did alright last week. Maybe 6 of 8, 5 of 8, something like that. Not too bad. Hopefully doing better after coming out of the Easter weekend. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off on Thursday, we're going to be going to the Canterbury Bulldogs and the Penrith Panthers matchup. The Bulldogs are coming off an 8-point loss to South Sydney, which, in complete honesty, has been a little bit of a inflated scoreline because I don't think the Bulldogs were particularly that great in the second half. And they take on the Penrith Panthers, who are coming off putting 50 points on the Melbourne Storm, the first time that's happened for Melbourne in over 20 years, as basically comparable as to when a certain limited mustache bloke walked into Paris. That's what Penrith are. But yeah, obviously people are expecting this game to be, I think the Canterbury being blown back to the Stone Age is essentially what they're going to be thinking is, but this is going to be a little bit shocking. I think Penrith might win this, but I do also think it's going to be I feel like this could be the game where it's the worst performance Penrith have, but also could be the best performance the Dogs have. So I think it actually will be a lot closer than people think. I don't think Penrith will put 50 on the Bulldogs. Hot take. But yeah, you don't know. Now we go into the Friday matches where at 6 PM we have the St George Illawarra Dragons taking on the Manly Sea Eagles. The Manly Sea Eagles in their first game under Kieran Foran last week put 50 plus on the Dolphins to get their first win of the season, whilst the St George Illawarra Dragons are coming off being held to 0 against the North Queensland Cowboys 32-0. This will be very exciting to see how Manly will go, and I did have the random basis of just of tipping them for some reason because, Kieran Foran, usually new coaches get a win in their first game. But unfortunately, the Dragons just seem completely lost and hopeless. I think, in my honest opinion, it's in due time of whether or not Shane Flanagan gets sacked. It's like, to be honest, I'm surprised it hasn't happened after that Cowboys loss, but I think this could be another key indicator here, and I'm going to say I think the Manly are going to win, and I think it's going to be a bit of another embarrassing result as well. And now we go into the 8 PM match on the Friday as we have the Brisbane Broncos taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. The Broncos are coming off a 14-point win over their southern neighbours in the Gold Coast Titans, whilst the Cowboys, as previously mentioned, a 32-point display over the St George Illawarra Dragons, as the Cowboys is now starting to play back into form ever since beating Melbourne a couple of weeks ago. Now this is actually going to be a pretty exciting match to say the least, both teams in very similar positioning. And it's like, anything could really happen in this contest. Now, obviously, Reece Walsh not playing in this game following his injury last week, so Jesse Arthurs will step up at fullback. In terms of how I think this game will go, I'm going to go with the upset and say I think the Cowboys get the win over in Suncorp. And, man, Todd Payten could just keep his luck rolling because, out of all the coaches in the NRL, he was probably, easily top 3 under the most pressure, but he's kind of going all right at the moment ever since that win over Melbourne. Now we go into the Saturday matches, and we have the first of the doubleheader over in Perth, as we have the South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on the Canberra Raiders. The South Sydney Rabbitohs are coming off their 8-point win over the Bulldogs in the Good Friday matchup, whilst the Canberra Raiders are coming off their loss to the Knights, and just starting to see their season kind of crumbling a little bit at the moment, especially in comparison to the stages they got to last year. But I think the Rabbitohs are going really well at the moment. I do think Canberra could make this game interesting, but I just think with the way the Bunnies are travelling at the moment, I think they're going to keep at it and still remain in the top 4, and I think they'll get the win. Now we go to the second game over in Perth, as we have the Cronulla Sharks taking on the Sydney Roosters. The Sharks are coming off last week with a win over the Warriors, whilst the Roosters come in from the bye. And this is probably going to be one of the more even matches to take place this weekend. Obviously, both teams have been pretty prevalent in playing in the finals against each other, and those usually end up being quite close contests, so I feel like we're going to see pretty much a bit of the same, and I feel this is just really a coin flip. But in terms of my expertise, if that even is a word that can be used for that, I'm going to say that I might just give it towards the Sharks in this one. But yeah, very much like coin flip, game could go either way. Now we go into the final game on the Saturday and back on the Eastern Seaboard as we have the Melbourne Storm taking on the New Zealand Warriors. Now the Storm are coming off a massive battering at the hands of the Penrith Panthers, whilst the Warriors are coming off the previously mentioned loss to the Sharks. Now this is going to be interesting to see how Melbourne bounce back here, because this could just be an internal like, right, they're just going to let everything come out in this match and just put the Warriors to the sword. But I don't understand why it's such a big disparity in terms of who we think would win in terms of the betting markets. We do know Adam Pompey has been suspended for 2 weeks in a bit of a weird situation. I don't know how I feel about it, but going to be a bit of a coward in this game and tip Melbourne, but I would not be shocked to see if the Warriors were able to get the job done. And finally, now we go into the Sunday matches where at 2 p.m. we have the Parramatta Eels taking on the Gold Coast Titans. Now the Eels are coming off an offering to go to car park for fisticuffs and chatting to referee as they lost in Golden Point in Easter Monday against the Tigers, whilst the Titans are coming off a 14-point loss to the Broncos at home. Sunday really be the good games happen. It's always bottom 4 clashes. It's just weird, but I think this is one that Parramatta really should wake up to themselves, and they should be able to get the job done here. If they were to lose to the Titans, then there might be some questions to be asked about this Parramatta side, but I think if they just play it well, they just keep it simple, I think they should be able to get the job done. So I'm going to say I think the Eels should get the win. And finally, to end round 6, we have the 4:05 kickoff at Campbelltown. It is the West Tigers and the Newcastle Knights in a top 4 clash. The teams that exclusively hold the last 4 wooden spoons are in the top 4. What? Now the Tigers are coming off their Golden Point win over the Parramatta Eels as previously mentioned, whilst the Knights are coming off a pretty decent home performance against the Canberra Raiders. This is just going to be really exciting to see and how both teams play and go into this. Obviously, winner of this ends up in 2nd place and could be the team that may get into the stages of possibly challenging Penrith, because I know the Knights play them in a couple of weeks. But it's a very exciting time for both teams, and I feel it's just more just like, hey, look at us. Huh? But in terms of who I think is going to win this, fuck it, the Knights win. I think it's just going to be a good game, and hopefully it's just close, but hopefully the Knights get it done as well. So those are my predictions for round 6. Who do you guys have? Let me know in the comments below. Sorry that this was a little bit late. I was busy on Tuesday doing actual commentary work. I'm not even kidding. So yeah, who do you guys have? Let me know. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.